And action.
Ow! Hey, it's Kevin and Fred. Do you have a referral for us here in Phoenix? There are 30,000 agents here that you could send them to. Why us? Well, for one thing, we'll keep you updated and you'll never have to track down your commission.
We'll also make you look really good to your client. And best of all, it helps us keep all this content free. So go to kevinandfred.com/referral to make the introduction. We'll take great care of them.
All right, guys, we're back this week on the Kevin and Fred Show. I am joined by my friend who I finally get to put in the hot seat, Rachel Adams-Lee. Rachel, how are you doing?
I'm so good. I am so good. This is like longtime Kevin for us.
I know this probably took no less than 275 text messages back and forth. Like I got it over the last, 12 months?
Yeah.
Crazy schedules, travel schedules, COVID schedules, you name it, personal schedules, all this fun stuff that we've had to deal with. But I am seriously super glad to be able to get you on the hot seat and interview you for the podcast for the listeners, because I think it's gonna be fun today. So let's dive in. Okay. Rachel, let's start here. Tell us for the couple people who may not know you or maybe just need a reintroduction, give us like little 5-minute, elevator speech. Like how long have you been in real estate? Kind of what brought you there? And then we'll dig in from there.
Okay, cool. All right. So my name is Rachel Adams-Lee. I've been in real estate about 8.5 years. I got into real estate in February of 2012. So this is like when short sales were around, REOs. It was like a very challenging market. At the time, I was 26 years old. I was married in a pretty unhealthy marriage. My ex-husband was 80% disabled and PTSD, 50% of that was PTSD from the Marine Corps. So I was managing a real estate office unlicensed. I spent my days trying to, be like the smiling face the agents saw when they walked in the office. And I spent my nights like crying myself to sleep. It was a really, really dark time in my life. Financially, people say like, oh, I'm paycheck to paycheck. I'm like, that's cute. I'm paycheck behind a paycheck. I'm borrowing money from everybody. So financially, I was in a tough spot. Emotionally, I was in a tough spot. And I knew I wanted my life to change. I just didn't know what that looked like. And I kept seeing all these commission checks coming through. And I just remember thinking like one of these could change my life. Like I just need money. Right. And so I went to this class called Bold, and it's a real estate course, but it's like very much personal growth, if you ask me. And I went to that first step and I heard a quote that kind of changed my whole world. It was change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So I was always in the scarcity mindset that I couldn't quit my job because it was safe and I knew how much money was coming in. And then I thought, well, what if I adopt this abundant mindset, right? There's no cap on how much money I can make and I get to create my own destiny. So I went to the first step. I had to do it. I couldn't afford to go because the class was like $800 and all my cards were maxed. But luckily, a home inspector took pity on me and he called in the real estate office that I worked at. He came up to me and he saw me crying. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I need to take this course. I'm like, but I'm just not in a space right now where I can. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to pay for your course. And I was like, what? Like it's $800. He goes, well, it's not free. You can pay me back $200 out of each closed transaction. He was like, and, I hope you know where to send your home inspections. And I was like, fair enough, buddy. So I started in real estate with Keller Williams. I started with them in February of 2012. I started my business really old school, door knocking 200 doors a week, doing 3 open houses a week.
Whoa.
Right? Like think about lead gen, like especially now I think about that commitment level I had and I'm like, dang, I worked hard. But it's knocking 200 doors.
Did you just say 3 open houses a week?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. Every single week. I did it for 7 months. Every single week.
You know what that reminds me of, Rachel? There's a good friend of mine who I've had before. It's been a while since I had him on the show. Is John Cheplack. He always says like, at what level and what are you what lengths are you committed to going to in order to succeed in your business? Yeah. So somebody who starts out for 7 months will do 3 open houses a week and knock on 200 doors. That tells me that's a high level of commitment there.
Well, I needed to, for me, honestly, I needed to get away from something. I needed to get away from the life that I was in. I wanted more for myself. And I'd never really dug into personal growth or personal development. My parents are amazing. They've been married almost or over 40 years now. My dad's a real estate broker, did it for 42 years. My mom was a second grade school teacher for 22 years. So, I had this great upbringing, and yet I wasn't really taught personal growth. It just wasn't like a thing. And when I joined the company I'm with, there was a lot of personal development. And so I just really poured into like being the best version of myself. And I didn't sell a home for those first 4 months. And yet I was able to sell 39 homes the first year, then 109, then 123. And so within 3 years, I hit top 1,000 agents in the country, right, for the Wall Street Journal. And I'm now 8.5 years into the business. I'm still a top 1,000 agent, thankfully, to all my clients and my amazing team that I have. I'm the lead listing agent, so I'm still in production on my team. So I have my real estate team. So life's very different now. I have,
Yeah, it is.
it's so good. I'm married to like the most amazing man in the world. We met on Tinder, so don't knock it till you try it.
First of all, if I could say, he's nice. He's super nice, by the way. He's tall and handsome too. Like he's just your type.
He's a
Like,
looker.
he's a good, honestly, he's a good one. Like he's a really good dude.
Thank you. And I'm recently a new mama. So we have baby Henry. He's 13 months old right now. And we run 4 different 6-figure businesses now. So, I heard, a long time ago that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And that really stuck with me because making a real estate income is incredible. And I love what I do. And yet I have to show up every day. I have to sell a house if I want to get paid. Right. And so, you and I both are huge believers in multiple streams of income and that, the residual income. And so I have my real estate business, my real estate team. I have a real estate coaching company. I have a real estate speaking platform. So I travel around the country normally 60% of the year, coaching people on how to build a business, and a lot of it through social media. And then I also have, I partnered with Monat, which is an anti-aging hair and skincare company. And I'm a director with that company too. So have the car and the vacations and the whole shebang. So it's really fun. Life's very, very different now than I ever could imagined, but I feel so fulfilled and I'm surrounded by motivated people who want more for their life and who aren't afraid to have like the tough conversations to get there. And all of my companies, every single one is ran through social media. So I'm really, really passionate about not only teaching people how to build a business through that, but practicing what I preach.
So, okay, I want to dissect something, but before I do, you just said something like willing to have uncomfortable conversations, right? How vital is that to being able to have success in anything in life, whether we're talking business or relationships or whatever? Like that's such a big piece of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everything, honestly. Like I think in the beginning, I struggle with this because I'm a people pleaser. I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to feel valued. I want everyone to feel appreciated. But the reality is I can work myself till I'm blue in the face and I will never be enough for some people and I'm going to be too much for others. And so I think that, as I've grown in this journey, I'm surrounded by a lot of people, but I keep my circle really small. The people whose opinions matters, who I let have an impact on my life, it's real small. Just because I think the more you work and the more you kind of put yourself on a public platform, people are going to have opinions. People are going to tell me that I'm raising my kid the wrong way or that I'm doing my marriage the wrong way, or like, you want to see me turn into a mama bear? Tell me I'm doing my marriage the wrong way. Like I will take you down. Like, you know what I mean? But everyone's going to have an opinion, and the people that I choose to align with where we grow together, we can call each other out. Like I sometimes need to be called out because I tend to I push really quickly and I do. And my husband and I joke around because you know how there's like ready, aim, fire.
Yep.
I'm like, my husband is like, he looks and he goes, ready, aim. About aiming, consult with some people about aiming, and I've already been like bang 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 bang, and I was like, wait, I was supposed to be ready. Like, so we're a good dynamic in that, but it's funny. And then as I've grown in my business too, getting the people around me who can aim for me, who can slow me down and call me out. Like I'm totally fine to be called out if I'm not on my game or if I'm doing something it the wrong way,
Yeah. That's so important. I think what's funny is here, and this has just been like a revelation that I've had, is most people, they have this circle and it's too big. They care about too many people's opinion. Right. And so because of that, they might not do something like start that next business or make a change. And that change could be like in their business, in their relationship or something, because it requires them almost to admit that they're wrong in a way, because that they were choosing quote unquote the wrong thing. And that's hard to do.
I can hear my baby like screaming on the outside.
That's awesome. I mean, it's not awesome that he's screaming, but like, I'm sure Ryan's got it covered. So
yeah, he's alive. We're good.
so, like that stops people. But yet it's so important. We do have to have some of those people in our lives, because otherwise I'm similar to you in like a fire. And like someone has to be ready, aim.
Yeah.
And so it's good to have those people. I think the magic is in making sure we don't have too many of those people, and we have the right ones, and the ones that we know have our best interest at heart.
Yeah. And I think it's trial and error. I go through this still, because I sometimes, you can get 100 people saying you're great and the one person who says you suck, and you look at the person who says you suck and why did they say I suck and how can I be better for them? And it's like, there are 7.5 billion people in this world. You're going to let the opinion of one person change who you are or make a choice. I remember when before I started to do Mon8 with the skin care company and hair care, I was like freaking horrified, Kevin. I was so scared because I was a top agent and I'm like, people are going to think my business is failing, that I suck at what I do. Why would I do this? And then my husband was like, babe, when you see a good movie, you tell everybody, because you are a crier and you want everyone to have that same emotional moment that you did. He was like, but Steven Spielberg is not going to cut you a paycheck. He's like, you already have no problem sharing, like, this could actually be something for us. That's after he said no to me for like an entire week, and I already bought business cards and URL, of course, to do it. But the cool thing is that like I genuinely believed in the company. And I not only believed in the company, I believed in what it could do for other people's, for financial freedom, for confidence, for building them up from the inside out. And when I actually announced it, I did a live on Facebook. This is before Instagram had lives. And I had like 13,000 people watching. And I had like sweat. If you watch it back, I have sweat on my upper lip. I was so nervous. I had 2 people say something negative, and neither of them were people I care about. And I was like, what? I waited for so long. And I think the issue is it's all here. We tell ourselves stories about what people are going to say, what people are going to think. I have full conversations about conversations people are having about me that they probably are never even having.
I've been there. It's so, gosh, Rachel, you say that, it's so funny. I think about a conversation I was having just last week with a buddy. And we're talking about, like, especially in real estate, because like that's how you and I know each other, is from real estate, right? And I experienced a very similar thing to making the decision that Fred and I made to move over and change brokerages and go to eXp Realty.
Yeah.
But one of the things I think that people don't do, like what you did or what we did, is they feel like they're optionless. They're not actually optionless, but they feel like they don't have options. And then when you feel like you don't have options, that leads to frustration, which leads to making poor business decisions, making less money, which leads to more frustration, which leads to feeling like you have even fewer options. But when you go, you know what, those opinions don't matter. And my small circle, the people, what's Ryan going to think when I come home? What is our family going to think when we come home at the end of the day, at the end of the week? And did I do them proud? Like, when you focus on that, and those voices that really matter in your life, you're able to realize, well, you actually have all the options in the world, and you get to pick which ones and execute on. And that's to me is super awesome. And it's definitely been a key, I think, just as your friend and an observer, being able to see you skyrocket, not just in kind of what I'll call in the agent world. Like, you haven't done just well being a real estate agent, and you've done well. So I do want to talk about that too. Okay. So can we go back to that real quick? The real estate agent side. All right. Yeah. So you're knocking on doors, you're doing open houses.
Yeah.
And that you obviously you have success. How many, you said, was it 39? You said you closed the first year?
Yeah. So think about this, like door knocking 200 doors a week, 3 open houses a week. You don't sell a house for the first 4 months. Every day you're showing up, you're busting your butt, physically getting blisters on your feet. No house was sold for the first 4 months. But what was kind of funny that happened is I just remember thinking, like, I always kept thinking that next house is the house that's going to say yes. That next house is the house that's going to say yes. And I wasn't reinventing the wheel. I talked to the people that were the top producers in my office, and I said, what are you doing? How did you do it? And they're like, get ready for blisters. And I didn't know that they meant literally get ready for blisters, right? But the thing was, like, every time that I knocked, I would have, and I called it a 12 touch value campaign. On one side, it's like the just listed or just sold, or like your purpose, right? Your intention for knocking. The other side is your value. So in, June, it could be where to watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. In October, it could be pumpkin patch locations. And so every time I'd knock, I would have a reason to be there for real estate. But I also would say, as your local real estate expert, it's my job to know all things happening locally. If you're planning on watching the fireworks on the 4th of July, like here's your locations, right? So there was this one house, and I knocked on the door, and my first time, like brand new little 26, I'm like, hi, my name's Rachel Adams and I'm a Keller Williams Realty, this is the whole thing. And I started with heels, PS, and that lasted for like a hot minute. Now I knock in tennis shoes, but I knocked and they said, we're not interested. No, thank you. And so the next time I knock and I have my script and and he says, again, we're not looking to sell. You don't need to come here. And I was like, okay, thanks so much. Do you want my flyer? And they take it kind of begrudgingly. The third time I'm ready to knock on the door, and I'm across the street, and he opens the door and he's like, hey, Rachel. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, don't come here. We do not want what you're selling. And I was like, okay, like, alrighty,
Loud and clear.
The 4th month, I'm not going to go. I see his house. I know he's there. I had made my notes, so I wasn't going to go. And I'm down. I'm the house to the left. So if you're facing his house, I was to the left. His name was Jim. And I'm at this house, and he kind of pops his head out of his door, and he's like, hey, Rachel, are you, or he was like, when you're done over there, come on over. And I was like, he's going to kill me. I was like,
I'm going to be on the news.
Wow. Like, this is it for me. And I go over and I kind of like peer inside, and he's at his island in the kitchen with his wife. And I'm like, okay, there's like a woman there, like witness. I'm probably not going to die. So I go inside, and he has my last 2 marketing pieces on his counter. And I was like, no filter, 26. So I said, why do you have those? I thought you hated me. And he said, I don't hate you. I just don't need to sell my house. But I told one of my coworkers at my office that there's this annoying blonde girl who's always coming by my house trying to get my business. But that if you're this good trying to get my business, you're probably good once you'll have it. And so his client's house was my first listing. And it was cool for me because at 4 months, I got my first piece of business, and all of a sudden it's like the floodgates opened. So selling 39 homes that first year, I really feel like all the actions that I did, it's like, you see, like, take Rachel Hollis, right? People are like, she's this overnight success story. She wrote 1 book and she's famous. No, she's written 11 books. This is just the first book that made it. You think she thinks she's an overnight success story? Like, think about how many failures she's had. It's just so easy to see somebody on the top now or doing well now and think they have it so easy. But I like to share my story because it wasn't easy. I cried myself to sleep. I had blisters on my feet. I had to siphon gas from a motorcycle to my car to get to a showing. Like, I have had tough times. And yet I believe in bounce back ability. Like, stuff is going to happen to you. Life is going to be hard, but how do you choose to bounce back from it? And I think I was willing to do what most people weren't.
How did you, okay. Probably after the first month, people would have quit. For sure, most people would have quit after the second month.
Yeah.
But after the third month, where you're like, and there's still no business.
Yeah.
What was there something inside of you that said, all I have to do is keep going and it's going to be there? Like, what kept you going for month number 4?
Okay. So total honesty, my home life was really hard. I was in such an unhealthy marriage. We were roommates that I don't think even liked each other anymore. And I was so determined to fix my marriage that I was like, if we just have money, I can fix this. And I thought that was what would fix it, which is so funny. But I was so determined to change my life circumstances that I was just willing to keep working. And all I filled my head with was like, I don't even think podcasts were out. Yeah. It was like YouTube videos and interviews. And like, I just filled my head with content that built me up. That was like, I am Tony Robbins. I am Jim Rohn. I am like every great, they're in my head. And I was like, I can do this. I can do this. I have to believe in myself. No one else is going to believe in me. I have to do this. And my dad, who's in real estate, was like, you just need to save up for 6 months before you go into real estate. And I'm like, do you have any idea what that means? Like, I don't have 1 month of savings. Like, I can't wait for 6 more months. I have to make this happen. And my dad's like, my parents are like my biggest cheerleaders now, but it's like, my why was so big. My why was so big. And I believed in marriage, and I was willing to do anything I could to like save mine. And then eventually I realized it takes two people. And so that didn't work out, but it did. Cause like, I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I didn't have that experience. And I wouldn't have, after I got divorced, I spent 3 years on personal growth. I really learned not just like what I wanted for my life, but who I needed to become to attract a person like Ryan. Like I wasn't taking care of myself. I was like 32 pounds overweight. I put everyone's needs in front of my own, like my family, my friends, my clients. And when I really shifted my perspective on like, I had to fill my cup first before I could take care of anyone else. Everything it changed for me. And so my business grew. And I'm not the agent that wants to sell 500 houses a year. So like, that's not my business model. And I don't know if it ever will be. I don't need a huge team. I've had moments where I wanted a big team because I saw other people on stages having a big team. And then I realized that I would rather be small and profitable versus like big and broke.
I'm laughing because you and I both we have a lot of mutual friends. We've both been down the road. There's been a time where I thought like, hey, if we don't sell 1,000 houses in a year, then we're going to be complete failures. And the reality is you and I both know a lot of people that they sell a lot more real estate than probably you and I combined. And they don't make any money at all from their business, but they get a lot of time on stage.
I think the thing for me, it was like quality of life.
Yeah.
Like I wanted more time with my husband, more time with my kids. And there are lots of people in all different companies that sell tons of houses and have incredible balanced lives. And there's some that don't. And I just know that for me, I have such big goals for what I want for myself and what I want for my family. And it doesn't include more time away from them.
Yeah, that's my thing too. It's funny. So, obviously you've got a little one, 13 months, I think you said.
Yeah.
And
for those that are watching this on video, I just
he's cute.
This little monkey.
Look at him. And so, I mean, same, like as soon as the minute my daughter was born, I was like, yep, I want to be home a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And then, and that hasn't changed. And I feel like sometimes, I've had to sacrifice because of it, or a business to sacrifice because of it. But dude, I wouldn't do it different for the world. And I think to your point too, there's nothing wrong with doing it another way. But what I knew, and I think what you know, is that was the right way for me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew what was right for you. There's nothing wrong with, say, selling 500 houses or 1,000 houses in a year. It's great. It's an accomplishment, but maybe that's not the accomplishment for you. It could be for someone else though.
Well, and some people will look at me and say, well, if you didn't have all these other distractions, maybe you could sell more houses. I don't want to sell more houses. I want to have the agents on my team fulfilling their goals. I want to help family and friends sell their homes. And I want to take care of any referral that comes into our company, right? And yet coaching for me, it fills a bucket that I feel so passionate about, because if I can help other agents build a better business and a bigger life, then they get to experience what I'm experiencing. And especially those that are stuck, that feel like they don't know what to do, or, with COVID and they don't know how to do social media, or like all these different things. Like if I can be a piece in that for them, that is so fulfilling to me. And I get to coach on my terms. Like I don't do one-on-one coaching, and I don't ever plan to. I do group coaching with pre-recorded webinars, and then I do live Q&As in a private group. So you get the group vibe. You have a group coaching, but you get the one-on-one vibe with me. And then you're in a private, accountability group. And it's like, for me, that's worked out really well for how I do my coaching, because I want to coach people and build their lives, but I want to do it on my terms. And I think the people who grow with me, they respect it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it kind of goes back to, you said something earlier, which I didn't kind of circle back to, but I will now. It's like, there's certain people that are going to go, like, when they see what you have, like they want it, and other people are going to be totally repelled by it. And I think, dude, I think that's the magic in any sort of business, where, especially with sales, right? And some people do it really well, and I think other people maybe could use some polishing and learn some things. But like, the reality is, when you turn up the dial on you kind of, you give people the option to opt in or opt out of you.
Yeah.
And the good part of people opting out is that there's room for more people to opt in.
Mm-hmm.
And you said what, 7.5 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
A lot of people have or want what you have, or want what you're talking about, or have similar desires and needs, and like they're going to be attracted to that. But it's
Yeah.
never going to be everyone. And I think it goes whether you're talking about coaching, with what you're offering with coaching, with
Mhm.
the way you offer your real estate services,
Mhm.
with the way you do other businesses, whether it's Monette or anything else. Like it's everything in life. Like we are who we are, and people can opt in or out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, like, when I go into business with someone, I ask them like, why do you want to go into business with me? What's missing in your life? Or like, how can I add value? And some people, I have to say, like, we're not a fit. I don't think that I can offer you what you're looking for. And I mean, I have a call with someone who, so I spoke in a market center, or I spoke in 5 market centers combined yesterday. And my phone was blowing up afterwards. And I have some people that want to talk to me afterwards. And I'm totally okay with telling some of them, I don't think that what I can offer, or what I offer, will work for you, because some of them need more than I can give. And, laying the boundaries is so important. I learned how to lay boundaries with my clients my 3rd year in real estate, because I was answering my phone at 10 o'clock at night, starting at 7 in the morning. And I gained 32 pounds, and I'm 5 feet tall. I only grow one direction. Like, it's not going anywhere else. But it was like, I wanted so much to be there for everyone that I was willing to compromise my health, my standards, my happiness. And you'll never break to that next ceiling of achievement if you're just always giving. I think it's great to be someone who adds value and gives to
Yep.
others. You've got to have boundaries, and you have to be okay with like taking a pause and saying, I'm worthy of taking a pause. It is okay if I take a pause. And the people who matter in your world, the people who deserve to be there, like, they get it.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. And if you know what, and when they don't, that's okay too. Like
Totally.
maybe it's for a season, and maybe that's just forever. Like they don't understand it. Again, we're not going to get everyone to agree. I think it's I've heard Gary Vee talk about this a lot in the last year or two. It's like you can't really let the applause cheer you on, because the minute you hear a boo, like that's gonna destroy you too.
Yeah.
So you kind of, they are what they are. Like some people will applause and get something out of it. I think when we do things from a place of giving, from like, hey, this has helped me, I hope it helps you too, and then we just let the result be the result. Like that's
Yeah.
where real magic can be for us,
Yeah.
especially for like you're actually coaching people, and setting up, you've got your program that you've set up, which I definitely want to talk about before we're done here. Or if you're just, or if you're doing that from the stage, like you also do as well, right? Which is more of the type of coaching I've done, which is more from a platform as
Yeah.
opposed to more formal. I think it's like, cool. Some people can pick up and take it and run with it, and other people choose not to, and both is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so speaking of the coaching, can you can you tell me more about that? Like, I know we're still a little bit before you actually open up the doors to it, but can you give us a little sneak peek as to what's coming?
Yeah. So it is, so there's 3 different coaching courses that we're going to be launching. We're going to start sales the end of this year, and it'll launch in January. The next will be a couple months after that, and the following one a couple months after that. So I can't tell you any of the names of them yet, only because we're still working on trademarks. But the first one is a social media masterclass.
Sweet.
And can you hear my kids screaming? Like,
I can totally hear him.
oh my
Yeah,
God, I'm
I
so
love it.
sorry.
It's
Well,
okay.
good news for everybody. This is real life, and I'm a mom of a 1-year-old.
Yep.
I can hear the baby. Hopefully that helps. Um, so, so the first one's a social media masterclass. So it's an 8-week social media masterclass. Sorry, I don't have headphones in, and you're hearing
Yeah,
me.
that's okay. It happens.
So it's an 8-week social media masterclass, and it is like, it's how to be proactive in your social media and build a business model around it. So how to post, when to post, what to post. We're going to have a social like content calendar, how to beat the algorithms. And then I think it's sometimes people don't know exactly which platform to focus on. So we're going to focus on the 3 that I know well. So we're going to do deep dives into Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Awesome.
Building your channel, gaining followers, how to, crack the code. So I'm super excited about it. And with that one, it's going to be an 8-week course. It's pre-recorded webinars, so you watch them at your convenience. There's a workbook you download with each webinar. And then we have a private Facebook accountability group, and I go live in there weekly doing Q&A. So it's a group coaching program, but with a one-on-one feel. So it's like, I'm just so excited about it.
That's awesome. I'm glad you've like formalized this because you've given so much back to the industry and you've taught and spoke about it quite a bit and done webinars. That all that's great, but like for you to take the time to put your thoughts and compile them and go, hey, here's actually a series and here's the way I dissected. Here's how you can do it too. I think that that's valuable. And here's the deal. I've had a few coaches on the show before. And it's never anybody I don't like. I have to trust them. I have to know that I, I just respect the coach that also does at a
Yeah.
different level. Maybe that's my limiting belief, or whatever you want to call it. But I have this thing where I don't really want to be coached by someone who's never done what they're trying to help me coach to do. Not that they have to be at a certain level, but they've got to know what it feels like. They've got to have had some of the wins and losses that
Yeah.
comes with, say, selling real estate, right? And using social media to grow that side of the business. Like it's important. And so I just love that you're doing that. It's really cool.
Yeah, I feel like, I could never ask someone to do something I haven't already done. And, my first year when I really started to dig into social media, I had 17 referrals through social media. Then it was, 50, and then it's 123. And last year was 131 referrals. So it's like, think
Damn.
about if you could add 131 additional referrals to your business, regardless of the industry you're in. It's how to build a business through social media. So there's that one. And then the one after that, which I probably am most excited about, is a business and relationship coaching course. And I get to do that with my husband, Ryan,
Ooh.
because when I got into real estate, I was married to somebody and I had no boundaries around my business. I learned everything not to do. And so, it was, we feel like so many people ask us, like, how do you guys have such a successful marriage and work together? Because he's the productivity coach and the president of the real estate company. So we were in it,
Yeah.
and we actually got some therapy when we first started doing business together to learn how to do things better. And now we're just such a smooth operating machine, but he was in a totally different industry than I was in. So the course is going to be for people who either work together in real estate and want to have like, it's how to have a big business, but an even better relationship. So it's that, or one of you's in real estate and one of you's in a different industry. So it's how you can support each other, grow together versus grow apart. And it's going to be the same platform. It's going to be a webinar, workbook, and then live Q&A. Like I can't even tell you. I'm so
That's
excited.
awesome.
And then the last one's another real estate coaching course that's kind of client events and how to get more referrals. And I'm just so excited. That's what I feel like next year is going to be all about. It's going to be super cool.
Very cool. Well, good for you. So let me ask you this. What did I miss? What should we talk about? What should we have talked about today that we haven't yet?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. And you told me you don't prep me for this stuff.
I told you. Yeah, I told you. I like to keep it fresh.
Let's see. Why don't you ask me? I'll give you two options.
Okay.
One, what it's like being a working mama.
Okay.
Or two, the main Instagram algorithm you can beat to build a following.
This is easy. What's it like to be a working mom? Because like here's the deal. There's not enough good content, good examples of that.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 daughters, and that's important as hell to me. So talk to me about that.
Awesome. So, when I first decided, I've always wanted to be a mom. And when we first talked about having a baby, I had said, my biggest thing is I don't want to have to like set our child down to go on a listing appointment if I don't want to, right? So I think the first priority is like, if you're going to choose to have kids, they have to come first. Like my marriage comes before my kid, and then my kid comes before my work. And so before, like, I think like for me, it was really figuring out what my support system was going to look like and how many days I was willing to work during the week. And I will tell you that not one week looked like the next. Every single week is different because my son comes first and we have a doctor appointment or we have a play date or we have something that matters. And it matters more to me than a listing appointment. It really does. I love my company. I love my clients, and the people who want to work with me, they value the fact that my family comes first. And I feel like there's this thing where it's getting a little bit easier right now, but it was like when I'm working, I felt like I should be with my son. And when I was with my son, I felt like I should be working. So it was this constant pull of like, I'm not enough here and I'm not enough here. And what I've realized is that it's my job to be present. just to be present.
Mm.
So if I'm right here talking to you, I'm here talking to you. Yes, I'm hearing my kid and just text message my husband to take him outside, but I'm here talking to you. And when I'm done talking to you, my phone is going to go away and I'm going to go spend time with my family. And I think when I really focused on being present where I'm at, wherever I'm at, it took a lot of the like pressure away, because I think if you're with your kid, but you're constantly with your kid, and your phone's right here, you're not actually with your kid. You're not home. You're not present. You're not with your spouse. You're not on date night. You're half in and you're half out. Like, this can be your best friend and your absolute worst nightmare. And especially in the industry that we're in with sales, someone's always going to need you. And especially when you start building your business through social, you always have notifications. You always have texts. You always have, like DMs or whatever. And so, wherever you are, be present there, and you won't feel the anxiety or the stress, because you're going to do work well, undistracted, and then you're going to be present with your family, and you're not going to want to work because you just finished the tasks you need to complete.
Yeah. It's like, if you're present, you can do the important things, and focus on those important things. And then from there, you can go be present somewhere else and let it be like, you can let the mess pile up. You can let
Yeah.
the DMs and the notifications add up and pile up too. And then when you come back to it and you're present there, you'll take care of that.
Yeah.
And you can do that if you totally focus while you're in the moment.
Totally.
That's great. That's great advice. I appreciate you doing that. All right. So my last question for you before we get going is, give me your top 3 pieces of advice for just kicking more ass. Like, someone's listening to you today. You have a chance to talk to, what could be an agent, could be someone else in your life. Just think of whoever, but they say, Rachel, I want to have a better life. I want to kick more ass. Like,
Yeah.
what are your top 3 pieces of advice?
Okay, so first things first, I would say be intentional about who you surround yourself with. They can make or break you. Whether you believe it or not, like, what they say to you matters, and it seeps into here and then it goes up here. And so be really intentional about the people you surround yourself with. Secondly, I would say follow a schedule. It's not sexy, but the only reason you and I are on this right now is because we scheduled it, and we both were, you're like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, cool, I got to put this down. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if something's a priority, you're going to put it on your schedule, but if it's not on your schedule, it's not going to happen. It doesn't exist.
100%.
And the third thing I would say is to look at when something is presented to you. And if you are anything like me, you're going to want to say yes, because you love opportunity, you love excitement, you love people, you're in sales, right? And a lot of times we start to get really stressed out. We're like, oh my gosh, this is such a hard day. I have all these things piling on my plate. So what I want to tell you is, when you start to feel stressed, take a deep breath and look at it as opportunity. Because these things that are stressing you out, you chose to say yes to them. They're only in your life because you said yes, and these things showed up because you're the kind of person who deserves opportunities. So sometimes our stress can be hidden, and it's like, it's disguised, but really these are all just opportunities. And just remember that what you say yes to is great, but what you say no to is even more important.
Yeah, totally. God, that's solid advice. Yeah, drop the mic. Total. We're done. Rachel, where can people find you? If someone heard this today and they want to follow you on social, how would someone contact you if they wanted to?
All right. So if you want to hang with me, if you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook under Rachel Adams Lee. And because you guys are super awesome and you're friends with Kevin and Fred, that means you're friends with me. So if you send an email, and I'm sure you will leave this in show notes too, but if you send an email to thegoods@racheladamsleegroup.com. So thegoods@racheladamsleegroup.com. I'm going to shoot you an email back, and you're going to get my top scripts for converting right now in the market during COVID, my favorite door knocking tips, how to beat the Instagram algorithm, just a bunch of good free stuff. And you can binge watch my YouTube channel. And it's my gift to you.
Awesome. Guys, email her. Trust me, she's got a lot of the goods is named appropriately. Rachel, thank you so much for taking time today. It was so exciting to catch up. Tell Ryan I said hi, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, my friend?
Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Talk to you later. We'll see you next time.